This week's podcast includes a story about a priest who became an architect to rebuild a cathedral housing a relic from a miraculous statue, Our Lady of the Sea. First up, go to my nicosteves.com website. There are links that take you directly to the Amazon page where my book, The Very Fine Light, is sold. Currently, it is only available in ebook form at Amazon.com. For all you iPad and non-Kindle tablet readers, please note, on that same page, there is a free app for non-Kindle readers, so you do not have to have an Amazon Kindle to read my book. Just look in the lower right corner as you make the purchase for the book for that free app. You can read the first few chapters for free while there. Why not check it out after listening to this podcast? Also, you can forward that free read to your friends right there on the same page as well. I am self-publishing the book, so your support really helps. This installment is part of an expanded timeline of the history of the Virgin Mary since she passed on from the world, and specifically, I take a closer look at the history of Our Lady of the Sea, which happened around the year 636 AD, and the history of the statue associated with this apparition of the Madonna, which is intertwined with later years in her timeline. Digging a bit deeper into the story of Our Lady of the Sea that occurred in the coastal village of Boulogne-sur-Mer, a port city on the coast of France, and on a clear day, you can see the white cliffs of Dover, England from there. More on this in a moment. And as you can hear all about the 636 AD event from my earlier podcast, installment 104, about the apparition and building of the first church to house the statue that appeared there. In the centuries that followed, but before the French Revolution, this cathedral was a famous pilgrimage site. However, at that point, humanity had become extremely unkind to honoring such a miraculous event for humanity. The final blow when the statue was burnt with only the right hand remaining. And yet, throughout the history of this miraculous visitation, there have been people, in particular one priest, who rose above the fray and worked to resurrect the legacy that had been destroyed during those revolutionary times. Father Benoit Haffreingue was a Roman Catholic priest who devoted his life to rebuild this Boulogne-sur-Mer Cathedral of Notre Dame. He was born in the year 1785. He was an amazing man and deeply religious in his studies. In the year 1813, he came to the town to become the principal of the Jesuit boarding school for boys in Boulogne-sur-Mer. And this is where he remained, and in that position until his death in 1871 at the age of 86. One day he was walking near the ruins of the old cathedral, which, along with the statue of the Lady of the Sea, had been destroyed during the French Revolutionaries' quest and efforts to eradicate all religious belief and worship, and had included the destruction of the grand cathedral stone by stone and the burning of the statue. He believed he received a calling from God at the time to rebuild the church. He took it upon himself to do the design work and also assisted literally in the trenches doing the work, and this endeavor was favorably received. Amazingly, more money came forward from both France and England, and though not a trained architect, he took it upon himself to do the design work and also assisted the workers in this rebuilding process. Construction of his design began in 1827. The tower was finished in 1854. During the 1860s, the cathedral, as it was called once again, became a pilgrimage point once the placement of the remnant from the original statue of the Madonna and Child Jesus was placed within the church. Still more money came, and construction continued. Additional expansions completed the final sections of this beautiful cathedral in the 1870s. Good to his word, the father had vowed to build the tower as tall as a prayer, as was his goal for the renovated church to be used as a public church, a meeting point for both Catholic and Protestant communities. Another consideration in the rebuilding effort was that Napoleon III donated money to the project, and the miraculous experience of Napoleon III's young son is also found in one of our podcasts, installment 102 of my first book. Father Haffreingue was a humble and modest person. The plaque he had above the gate to the cathedral, translated from Latin, reads, "The work of the Lord." The dome dominates the town, and sure enough it was tall as a prayer, and can be seen on a clear day from the White Cliffs of Dover. In 1921, the arches from the nave collapsed, due in part to the father's lack of professional training. During the construction that followed, the entire church was reinforced with concrete. This treatment came in handy since it helped the church survive bombings of the city during World War II, which is quite a tribute to the history of an apparition of the Madonna that occurred in 636. This is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.